Hello there to you folks. JB here with you in the Stream Center alongside meteorologist Amanda Holly with Jim Farquhar in Eagle 8HD. And Jim, who's the pilot today in Eagle?
We have Roy Harkness with us today.
All right, Roy Harkness. I am preparing the stream across all platforms. And as I do so, I'll leave it with Amanda and Jim.
And good morning, everybody. Good Saturday morning. As you can see, we are taking a look at an extremely flooded neighborhood. I'll let Jim provide some perspective as to where exactly we're at as he is up in Eagle 8 HD this morning. But just a reminder that this is flooding that was caused from the 10 to 18 inches of rain that we got in portions of the Tampa Bay viewing area. This was all north of the center of landfall, and this is all leading to this localized low-lying flooding. We're seeing our rivers cresting and continuing to rise depending on exactly where you're at. Most of them have crested. If they haven't crested, they are just continuing to very slowly rise. Most of them will crest by Monday and continue to come out of major flood stage. But this was one of the concerns that we had with Milton. We had all 5 kind of tropical threats with this system as it crossed the state. And unfortunately, we are seeing the flooding, the freshwater flooding come to fruition. A lot of the water on the inside the homes here, some of it just covering the streets, but you can kind of see in that lower lying area. Unfortunately, on the backside of that neighborhood, there is water in those homes. And this is just one area. We are seeing this in many different counties and cities just north of the center of landfall. Jim, can you provide some perspective right now of exactly where you guys are over?
Yeah, we are in Elfers. We are north of 54. You can see that a lot of these neighborhoods are flooded out. I'm not exactly sure where the river is or was, but it is definitely flooded out.
Yeah, and all of this water eventually has to go somewhere. We did see this after Debbie moved through just a couple of months ago, barely a couple of months ago. We saw Debbie dumped 10 to 18 inches of rain down in Sarasota and Manatee County, and we were looking at views very similar to this for days after the storm passed because it takes time for all of this water to go somewhere. It takes time for the rivers to bring it out to the bay and the Gulf of Mexico. So we're continuing to see this water flow to the lowest lying points, and then we got to wait for the drains and the storm drains to take care of all of this water. And we are continuing to see these rivers rise. And yeah, you can kind of see there just that water covering those homes. I'm sure at least inches, if not a foot of water in some of these homes in these lower lying areas. You can see the water completely covering that pool and just inundating a lot of these homes with, again, this is fresh water flooding from the rain that fell from Milton as it crossed the state. And these are views that we are seeing not just at the coast, but inland and across the state as well. Seeing some of these views over in the Daytona area with some of this rain that they've had fall there as well. So this is again in the Elfers area, and you can see how far that water extends. Some of the water supposed to be there. Some of the water, some of these areas are ponds, but obviously the ponds are much higher than they otherwise would be when you get 1.5 feet of rainfall in just a short span of 18 hours. So we will continue to keep an eye on these river levels. I know yesterday we had multiple water rescues. There were multiple evacuations of some areas, including Pasco County, because of the waters were rapidly rising. Again, today they're only steadily rising or starting to fall as the water finally, the drainage systems, the rivers, they can kind of catch up with the rain that has fallen. We're not seeing additional rainfall from a meteorological perspective. It is going to be mainly dry this weekend. Could see a couple of quick passing showers, but nothing that will exacerbate the flooding that you are seeing on your screen right now. So Eagle up, I'm sure you are going to be, going and viewing a lot of the areas across the Tampa Bay viewing area, but right now you guys are in Elfers.
And let's welcome our audience in on WFLA.com, trackingthetropics.tv, and now on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. We've got meteorologist Amanda Holly in the Stream Center with me. I'm JB Biunno, and photographer Jim Farquhar alongside Eagle 8 HD pilot Roy Harkness. This is the Elfers area of Pasco County. And Amanda, as we introduce a new audience here, this is an area that saw historic rainfall totals in the aftermath of Hurricane Milton.
Yeah, so I'll just kind of describe a little bit again what I've been talking about. This was one of the tropical threats that we had with Milton as it crossed the state. We were trying to detail every single threat. We knew that every county in the Tampa Bay area was going to feel some sort of effect from Milton. Every county feeling a little bit different of an effect. One of those tropical threats, though, was the low-lying flash flooding threat because of the amount of rainfall that we were expecting. We talked a lot about the storm surge threat that was going to be south of landfall. The low-lying flash flooding threat was along and north of landfall, and sure enough, 10 to 18 inches of rain fell in some spots. We had an official gauge record 18 inches of rain at the St. Pete Airport, and that came to fruition. It wasn't just one area. It was a large swath of this 10 to 18 inches. And again, this rain has to go somewhere. A lot of our systems, our drainage systems, our lakes, our rivers, they're equipped to handle some amount of rain in a short amount of time, but rarely you see systems capable of handling 18 inches of rain. So we see it piling up. We see it in the low-lying areas, and it's going to take some time for it to make its way to the bays, into the creeks, and into the rivers. You see it rise really quickly, and then it's only going to slowly fall off as the water makes its way toward the bay, but it's going to take some time. You can see the water covering the road there, and we say turn around, don't drown. You don't know how deep that water is. You can see the lines in some spots, but as you go farther from that road, from the crosswalk there, you can't see those lines, so you really don't know how deep it gets, and you risk getting stalled. You risk stalling your car and then stranding yourself, and then we have to see another water rescue take place. We saw over 100 of those yesterday. We hope that most everyone got out, and we hope that we don't see any more water rescues today. It looks like there's a car sitting there right there on one of these roads that we are up in Elfers right now. Eagle 8 HD providing these views for us. We were just over some homes where the water was inundating the homes, and you can kind of see that car. It looks like a sheriff's office vehicle there rolling through the most shallow spot where you can still see some of those lines. But this is an unfortunate sight that we are seeing in a lot of the area, not just in Pasco County. We talked yesterday a lot about the Alafaya River cresting at 301 near Lithia Pinecrest because that water was cresting at record levels. A lot of these rivers cresting at or just below record levels, and they continue to rise or are steadily kind of tapering off now. So we are continuing to watch this threat through the weekend, even though we have very nice weather in place this weekend, JB.
All right, so we're here with our survey flight. This is the damage survey flight for Pasco County and the aftermath of Hurricane Milton. Jim, let's check in with you. Have we visited the Anclote River yet? I don't believe that we have.
Sorry, I lost you there, JB. We are in Elfers, Seven Springs, and 54. We are going to head west towards Newport Richey and see what else we can find.
10-4, Eagle, we will monitor you on stream. And again, we're tracking this on flight radar. So, yeah, we can now see that Eagle 8 HD has made the push northwest towards Newport Richey. And, of course, this is another area, Amanda, that we're going to see that got hit pretty hard, of course, by Milton.
Yeah, we are talking about the rainfall, right? But there were some very strong winds there as well. It looks like there's some black smoke there on the horizon. Jim's zooming in now on that. Obviously, possible fire there. Maybe they'll fly over there to investigate it. Never want to see that sight in the sky. But certainly a large plume of some black smoke there, JB. Yeah,
Jim, are you heading to investigate where that's coming from?
Yeah, we're heading over to the smoke now.
10-4. Yeah, we've it's interesting. We've seen so many different things from Eagle. One of them, though, we've had a lot of folks that are burning piles of branches, tree limbs in their backyards. That's pretty common. Although here we have some black smoke.
Yeah, you don't typically see black smoke when you're burning vegetation, so that's why I was a little concerned with that. But it's a double-edged sword when you burn the vegetation, right? You are not straining the resources from our waste management sites, our distribution sites there, but also you have to be just very careful when you're doing your own burning, because there's obviously a lot of tree limbs down.
Oh,
And
looks like we have a building.
Oh yeah, I see the water.
What are we looking at, Jim?
Looks to be that a small house has caught fire. The fire department is on scene.
It's busy enough for our local fire crews to have a fire.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so you hate to see it, but it looks like from this vantage point, and Jim, you can tell me what we're. Looks like it's at least under control.
There's still some flames there in the middle there.
This is again in Pasco County, updated location for our friends watching on stream. This is in the Treasure Island area.
Yeah, we are in Newport Richey right now.
Yeah. There's a community here called Treasure Island, but yes, this is Newport Richey. Really, I mean, right by the Gulf.
So another thing that we're noticing in this view as we kind of see the house that the firefighters are fighting this fire, but surrounding it, all the piles of debris that are on the streets. And this is, again, another just very common view that we had with both Helene, and now we're seeing it with Milton, where everyone just has to literally put all of their belongings on the side of the road to be picked up because they were either damaged by water or they were damaged by wind. So, it's going to be very tough to kind of distinguish that debris now moving forward, whether it was from Helene, whether it was from Milton, because different areas were impacted by different things. But this is a concern as well with after post-storm recovery and power coming back on and generators and electrical, and if anything was wet and the power comes back on to your house and you didn't have the main breaker, you have to be very careful with electrical that has gotten wet because it can spark fires as well. So using just extreme caution when you're cleaning up the debris, any loose limbs, really be aware of your surroundings. And then of course, as you make your way back home, being very aware of everything that's going on and that has happened in your house, doing a very good inspection. My husband right now is up on the roof, inspecting our roof, and we have a lot of shingles missing. Unfortunately, it looks like we have some water on the one side of the house. So again, this is just a very common thing that we are seeing post both Helene and Milton now.
So just point of clarification from earlier, I mentioned there is a small community called Treasure Island in that area, not Treasure Island, Pinellas County, not to be confusing. We are again over Newport Richey, and now Eagle 8 HD is...
Yeah, we're just following the river here.
Yep.
Okay.
So just to give you some perspective, the Anclote River, the actual flood gauge that we have near Elfers at Little Road, which is where we were just seeing some of those views from, that river has crested, folks. It is still in major flood stage. It crested yesterday at 26.5 feet, which was less than a foot below the record, but it is falling. It's at 25 feet now, and it will steadily continue to fall. It will come out of major flood stage not until tomorrow morning. So about 24 hours from now, we are going to see it go back into moderate flood stage, coming out of all flood stages not until Wednesday.
Amanda, you want to pass on that new info?
Yes, so we will go over some of the other rivers. So I was just detailing the Anclote River near Elfers. Let's look at the Cypress Creek River near Worthington Gardens. We just got some information from our
Desk.
The Simon Desk. Yes, thank you, JB. Cypress Creek at State Road 54. This is in Worthington Gardens. It is still rising. It is not rising rapidly, but it is going to continue to rise. So right now that level is at 14.5 feet, and it is expected to rise another 6 inches in the next 24 hours. So again, a slower rise, but then it will crest. It will hold steady there until Monday and then slowly fall. But hey, 14.5 feet is already above the record. The record was 13.8 feet, and it's not going to crest until it hits 15 feet. So if you are in Cypress Creek in the Worthington Gardens area, please heed any evacuation orders. We'll keep moving on. The Hillsborough River now near Zephyr Hills. That one is receding. It crested yesterday at 17 feet. It has receded almost 2 feet. Will continue to recede and actually coming out of major flood stage tomorrow afternoon, but it did crest above the old record. That is near Zephyr Hills at the state park. The Hillsborough River at Morris Bridge Road is finally starting to crest. It looks like the level has really tapered off. I wouldn't be surprised if it rose another inch, but it is cresting at 38 feet right now with an old record of 34 feet, so almost 4 feet above the old record, but it will stay in major flood stage until Monday. So that is the Hillsborough River at Morris Bridge Road. Again, Eagle 8 HD views coming to you from Newport Richey area near the Anclote River. I was just kind of giving you some idea of some of the other rivers. Another river that we've been talking about, the Alafaya River at Lithia Pinecrest. We saw a lot of water rescues and evacuations yesterday. That has crested, and it has actually fallen a good bit. It crested yesterday afternoon at 24 feet. It is falling right now. It is at 22 feet. Will continue to fall back into moderate flood stage by Monday. So all of these rivers, JB, that we are looking at are either in moderate or major flood stage right now, but luckily most of them starting to recede. But yeah, this is a result of the 10 to 18 inches of rain that we got as Milton passed through.
Yeah, and how long will it take, Amanda? What would you expect for things to get back to a relatively normal level? Days or weeks?
It's going to be days. River-wise, it takes days. I don't think it will be weeks. I do think most of our rivers will be back to kind of their normal level by Tuesday or Wednesday, if not sooner. So, it's just going to take some time. Again, those water levels, they rise really, really quickly because the 18 inches of rain in one spot covered over a very large area. They rush to the lowest lying areas, and then you hope that that's the river, but the river can only take so much at one time. So these rivers are evacuating the water as fast as they possibly can, but it takes time when you have 18 inches of rain over a very large area. I don't even know how to do the math to kind of calculate how much rain fell from the sky over this large area. So days, not weeks, but unfortunately a lot of the damage has already been done with the waters in the homes and the evacuations of the residents that live in these areas between yesterday and today.
So Eagle 8 HD has moved north now, and we're coming up on Port Richey. In fact, I believe that's where we are now, a little bit closer to the Gulf, a little bit more north. And I'll pass along some information that we've been getting in from various officials in the area. But let me please point out that WFLA.com is really your home base for information as it comes into our newsroom. We're getting information on gas shortages and how the area is seeing more fuel come into the area. We're getting information about power outages and when companies like TECO and Duke Energy are getting people back up and running. TECO believes that Hillsborough County should be back up and running mostly by Thursday, but most of the county should be back up on the grid into Tuesday.
Yeah, it was very much listening to that press conference this morning, JB. We had a crew out there live because you hear Thursday and you're like, oh my gosh, that's a week. But it'll happen in stages. They wanted to be very clear about that. By tomorrow, 55% of the county will be back up. 75% of the county, Hillsborough County, will be back up by Tuesday. And then the remaining 25% will be back up by Thursday. So they're doing their best they can for sure. Eagle 8 HD right now making its way north along US 19. That is the road that we are looking at, crossing Stone Road and making their way toward Jasmine Estates and Regency Park. Not seeing a ton of flooding here. Most of the flooding at the moment located along our rivers, but you can see the congestion, JB. The power outages are causing major problems at the intersections, especially the major intersections, right? The little intersections, it's a little bit easier. Oh, that one has power. That's nice to see. The major intersections, though, a little bit scarier to kind of traverse.
But check this out. This is a gas line.
Yeah.
And what we have seen is an organization effort come into effect. What we're seeing is that because it's gotten so crazy at some gas stations, where even as we have heard on social media, reports of arguments and worse than arguments, fights breaking out. Local law enforcement has been helping out, assisting to make sure that this is done as orderly as possible. Eagle earlier, right before we began the live stream, was over a very well organized line in the Trinity area. And here we have this now up towards, are we into Hernando County yet? We probably are approaching Hernando County, but this is getting closer now to Bayonet Point. And there you can see
Hammock Road there.
Branch Road there to the east.
And I posted this on my social media, JB. I know we had a big update about this yesterday. There's plenty of fuel. There was just a delay in getting the trucks out because of power at the Tampa port. I can attest on my way in at 3 a.m. this morning, tankers were exiting the port. They were at most of the gas stations that I passed, filling up. There's plenty of fuel, folks. You just gotta use your patience, have some of it. You will get it.
And we'll keep an eye out here for, any intersections that do not have power. It looks like this one appears to be functioning properly. I'll tell you what, though, with the power outages, food is hard to come by. Grocery stores are not fully yet up and running. Fast food restaurants, people just looking for something quick as they get back to working on their homes. They're not fully back up and running. And that's usually what people want more than anything in the aftermath of a storm. They're looking for supplies, gas, and then food. And that is, look, not everybody has a generator. So there are a lot of people out there without power and that have been snacking on non-perishables for the last couple of days. When the restaurants get back up and running, both fast food and sit-down restaurants, there's going to be a lot of happy folks out there.
It's definitely something that, you try and get out and
give me 1 minute here, you guys.
It's definitely something that you try and get out. You want to sit in the AC maybe for a minute, especially today. Tomorrow will be a little bit warmer, mid-80s, but again, we're really going to stay mostly dry with this next couple of days. So we have been thankful for the drier conditions for sure that we have had after Milton, because obviously we ended up with over 3 million people without power. So it could be worse with high humidity and hot temperatures, but it's actually been relatively comfortable. We are starting to warm up now. I do think that we are going to be a little warmer today and tomorrow, but another nice cool down coming for the middle of the upcoming week. We got a couple of cold fronts coming through. They will be mostly dry cold fronts, so not, again, bringing us any more flooding concerns, but they will kind of keep our temperatures comfortable. Wednesday and Thursday, actually, though, looking really, really nice. So again, if you're just joining us, Eagle 8 HD is up in the sky surveying some of the damage that we have seen, the flooding that we have seen after Hurricane Milton. Eagle 8 HD right now up near Lakeside Woodlands, Beacon Woods in Hudson. just inland from Gulf Shores. I think that's kind of where the camera is pointed right now, just south of Gulf View. So this was an area that also saw hurricane conditions. Those gusts were fierce on the northern side, and we also had significant rainfall on the northern side. Where we're at right now, kind of making our way down Hudson Avenue, we got about 10 to 14 inches of rain. And again, all of that rain falling in a short amount of time has to go somewhere. So we are seeing some of those lower lying areas being inundated and the rivers swelling, a lot of the ponds, the normal ponds, seeing much higher levels than normal. But this area, Jim, that you guys are looking at right now, kind of describe what you're seeing up there. Looks in decent condition at the moment.
Yeah, it's in pockets. Well, we are currently flying, I believe, south. I'm not really sure. So we're just looking around, seeing what we see. We do come across a few gas stations with lines, but they do seem orderly. I was out yesterday, and it was not orderly. I believe today, because Sheriff's Department's out, they are keeping people in check. Yesterday, it was kind of wild. I was out in Valrico area, and a gas station on an intersection was causing a conflict with the intersection because people were trying to cross the road to cut in line to get gas. So it was very chaotic. It took a long time to get through that intersection. But today, everything seems to be more orderly.
That's good. Yeah, I know. Tensions are high with everyone, right? Tensions were high before the storm with the stress levels of just kind of the unknown, not really knowing what to expect. Now tensions are still high. The storm is over. We're dealing with the after effects of it. I just keep saying everybody just needs to take a deep breath, relax a little bit. We're going to get through this. We got to hold our head up high. The cleanup efforts continue. I know there is a ton of cleanup to do. We are kind of broken. We're bruised out there right now, but we will all get through this. We got to stay strong and just have so much patience. I know we have seen so many of our community members come together and really lift each other up. Everybody's helping each other without being asked, and it's fantastic. We all have moments, and we just all have to kind of take a deep breath and just wait it out. It's going to be some long days ahead, long road to recovery. Unfortunately, we still have 6 more weeks of hurricane season. Nothing brewing out there right now. JB and I were talking about it before the stream, and there is no Nadine out there. Want to dispel some of those rumors at the moment. The tropics. Yes, we have Tropical Storm Leslie. There's a tropical wave out there, but there's nothing brewing in the Gulf of Mexico or the Caribbean in the next 7 days.